So our mission was also to create an inclusive, broad-based black youth participation within the built environment. We've had also some of the engagement where, as I said, we meet to have that cohesive representation of young people. Youth in its own, you can move to the next slide. So these are the purpose of why we exist. I will not go through all of them. There are a few there because we want it to be narrow in, or just not be spread all over the show. We've seen how that actually works, which is what we've learned from our leadership as well, that if you just throw everything in there, you end up not having a voice and what you stand for and what people would understand you to be. So our main purpose of the organization is to create an enabling trading environment, to facilitate significant participation of black business, and also to create black industrialists. As we know, currently we are in an era where within the Department of Trade and Industry, they created actually a program called the Black Industrialist Program. Gone are the days where we should be as youth doing what we call cosmetic construction, where we're just being plumbers, painters, and only offering services. This is the time where, as young people, we need to be actually looking at the full value chain of the industry and looking at the key variables that are driving those construction projects. If you look at the BOQ of a construction site, you'll see that the bulk of the money is going to your materials that are coming through on site. And how is our engagement and participation in that? Are we only going to be channeling ourselves just to be services driven, or are we actually building ourselves to be industrialists and offering those concrete, being the ones that are doing the steel fabrication ourselves and being the manufacturers and suppliers of that construction industry? So which is why for us it is key to make sure that we build and we create black industrialists within the environment and be able to drive the key inputs of the construction space. And also as well to partner with government to the extent possible where we are able to capacitate, to advocate with them, to lobby with them, to ensure that there is cohesion. They understand what our voice is and we understand what their needs is, and engage that legislation so that it enables us to be able to actually participate within it, within the various capacities. To conduct research, this one is actually key. You know, I'll go back again to the CEO and what the CEO always says. You know, back then in their days, and even the president would say it, they would go in the room as they engage government and fight on a voice. No, this is what we stand for and this is what we're going to do and it's going to happen. And whichever means possible, however way they would get it through, it will happen. But gone are those days. We need to be research driven in terms of where the industry is going, which is why if you look at our theme, it says back to the future. We need to be able to understand where the industry is going into and put research into it in order for us to actually input and actually contribute to what a significant and a more structured way of how this environment is supposed to be, even for young people and for their inclusion in there. We have 4 key pillars that we're driving in. The number 1 pillar is to enable. Once we have an enabled environment, because as we know, currently we have a lot of other bureaucracy and other red tapes for us as young people to participate. It starts off, as we know, from our specifications that we'd have of projects. If we're looking at it from a tendering perspective, we'd already be kicked out from everything else that will be happening. And once we can enable that environment, we want to be able to educate. One of the things that government is always saying is that the youth that they're engaging with is that they're not ready for business, which we've actually come to accept as well on our side, to say some of the challenges, yes, we are not ready for business. We're not ready to understand how to participate within key projects in business. But how do we then solve that problem? How do we then enable ourselves to make sure that we are able to participate? And that is through workshops, similarly to what we're doing today. That is through engaging and bringing government together with us and also some of the other stakeholders to bring them, for us to be able then to say, how do we share the experiences? What is it that they need? What is it that we need to be able to do in order for us to prepare ourselves to be able to participate within government? The other one is to elevate. We do not want to remain grade 3s if you're looking at a contractor forever, or grade 4s forever, just doing subcontracting. We want to be able to drive key capital projects within the industry where if they're saying that there is a project running within one of the entities of government, we are able to actually bid and participate, where we are able to elevate a young person. If it is a matter of them needing funding as a resource, how do we make sure that that happens? How do we make sure that that person that is a young person is partnered up, whether it's through JV, whether it's through collaboration or consortiums? How do we make sure that we elevate youth within the industry? The fourth one is our impact on the socio-economics. We cannot neglect that one. As much as we also want to grow as young people within industry, we need to be cognizant of how we impact the socio-economics and the environments and the spaces in which we are working at. We have 4 key areas that we're looking at. One is developmental, one is research, one is the other business opportunities. And if you look at the areas that we're looking at, you'll see that the 4 pillars are presented within those areas in there. In the construction space, or in the built environment space, most of the focus is put on 2 areas, which is the contractor space and the professional consultants that we have. And what we've done is, as we look at the full value chain, we need to be aware and cognizant of how do we play within the supplier space, manufacturers, and one of the key elements that is actually more so than not neglected by ourselves when as young people is to be training providers within the industry and to be able to engage and bring ourselves to a level where we are industrialists, we are able to train and partner up with government, and we are able then to influence how the project would work. This is the structure of the organization in itself. In terms of the BBCBE Youth Chamber, we are a body within a body. As I said, we are governed, and actually we are within the constitution of the BBCBE, the Black Business Council in the Built Environment, and within there, then these are the characters that we're looking at. We're looking at member organizations. We currently have, I'll name the member organizations that we have in the organization. We have SAWIC, which is South African Women in Construction. It has actually, some of the members are represented today in the room. As I was speaking, actually, the Deputy President, Umam, had just walked in, and I would like us to welcome the Deputy President of SAWIC at a national level. One of the other member organizations that we have is NAVCO Construction. One of the other organizations that we have as a member organization is SABTACO, which is representing professionals within the industry. We have 6 disciplines of professionals, as we know, within the industry. And then from there, we have your lift professionals, which are looking at the lift industry. There is a huge need for young people actually to participate within that industry. It is an industry where it is actually neglected and it is not being looked at, lift professionals. As a young person, please take some time to engage with lift professionals, and in order to understand what are the key inputs and needs in there. And also, we have what we call SAFDA, South African Fire Development Agency. They do not develop the fire and create it. No, they are the ones that are working with fire extinguishers in order to actually take down the fire, fire hydrants that are in the building. They work with that. And from there, we would have within our membership, corporate members, young professionals, student chapters, and also built environment unemployed youth. And that's about that. That is who we are, and that is what we do.